Hello, everybody. Welcome to Full Force. This is a draft where what we do is we try and force a single archetype as hard as possible. Kaladesh, we were originally going for two color pairings. We're switching it up a bit now. This is still kind of a two color pairing deck, but we're trying to do like a blue-white flash kind of deck. So we want to get Aether Trade Winds. We want to see how good we can make a deck that relies on things like Aether Trade Winds, Aviary Mechanic, things like Panharmonicon if we can get it, Wisp-Weaver Angels, cards like that. We have a pretty good start here because I think that we want Confiscation Coup. Confiscation Coup is just a great blue card. I'll take Aether Trade Winds on a wheel, but I don't need to grab it immediately. We'll try and get those a little bit later. Pretty happy about our first pickup. Ooh, there we go, Decoction Module. That's a card that we can use to get a lot of advantage off of our come into play abilities. So if we're going to try and abuse come into play abilities, we're going to want a Decoction Module. Pretty happy about that one. If we weren't taking the module, I think that it'd be Marauder. Rhino is also pretty reasonable though. I mean, we've got Confiscation Coup already, so we could go into an energy type deck. Blue-green energy is a thing. We know that we've passed some pretty good green and some pretty good black cards because we passed the Thriving Rhino twice. We passed Marauder. We do have Restoration Gearsmith. I feel like we'll end up being white-blue a lot of the time, but I'm willing to splash for Gearsmith because Gearsmith, like, rebuying with the Decoction Module is pretty sweet. We also have a Select for Inspection, which is pretty solid, actually. I like the card, and in a deck like this, it can get extra utility. You can attack and select your own things back. You can also like attack, and if the attack's bad, you can select it back. Even if it doesn't have a come into play ability. But we'll take the Gearsmith and see if we can't get some kind of mana fixing, particularly Prophetic Prism, and get that all set up. That being said, if we have enough artifacts, we might not need to worry about having three different colors. We'll just have to see. So now we have Lawless Broker, which isn't great. Rebuff's not great. There's no good white cards. No blue cards, really. I mean, I guess we can just take Lawless. Not happy at all about this pack. This pack's very weak. Chandra's Pyrohelix is something, but I'm not going into red at this point. It doesn't look like the type of deck that wants to be red. I can't really think of a red card that has a come into play ability in this format. Now we have Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot, which is something we can use with, say, like Aviary Mechanics. Because you can get a Puzzle Knot or Prophetic Prism, you play it, play an Aviary Mechanic, return it, play it again, just kind of keep using it to redraw cards, which is surprisingly powerful. It's not insane or anything, but it's decent. We also have the Operative and a Fragmentize. Fragmentize obviously being pretty good removal for artifacts. Very important to get at least one of these. Considering what we're trying to force here, though, I think that I just take the Metal Spinners. We don't really have a lot of cards that are bouncing yet, just the Gearsmith, and I want to try and force a deck that tries to abuse that. So I'm going to take the Metal Spinners and see what we can get off of that. Imperial Voyager. Blue-green energy is looking better and better. Young is okay removal. Prakata Pillarbug is acceptable as just an artifact creature. I kind of feel like Pillarbug is where I want to be. I've not been impressed with Young. It's just not a card that I've cared about. But I do like the Pillarbug. I could take Disappearing Act too, though. Because if I'm trying to return permanents, Disappearing Act is a pretty good one. And it's a counter. So, you know what? I'm going to take the Disappearing Act. We said that we were going to go deep. Let's go really deep. See if all of these cards combine together to make an actual deck. If we're going to do that, Paradoxical Outcome is kind of cool, but I'm wondering if I just want a Nimble Innovator. I guess the thing is, we'll get more Nimble Innovators. I'm not going to get another Paradoxical Outcome, or it'll be unlikely to. So, this is... wow, this is really deep. I didn't expect to actually be able to go this deep already. I was hoping to get something like Panharmonicon. Paradoxical Outcome is a little bit crazier than I expected. We've got a Peafowl or a Built to Last. I need creatures, but I don't really want 4-drops. I don't think Built to Last is that great. I guess I'll take the Peafowl. Fowl is fine. Don't have any aviary mechanics. Obviously, something like Cloud Blazer is a very high pick for us. Another Gearsmith would be good. Windrake and Nimble Innovator. I want these come into play abilities, but I need a 3-drop a lot more than I need another 4. And I should be able to get Nimble Innovators extremely late, so I'm going to take the Windrake here. Nobody wants to play Nimble Innovators. If I want to get one, I should be able to get one a lot later. I think that Nimble Innovator is one of those cards that probably comes in the last few cards of the pack. Foundry Screecher is very late here, and it's a good card. White is just not open at all. But we'll see what we can do in the next pack to try and force it a little bit and get like some mechanics and other cards that we need. So the big one for me right now is getting a Prophetic Prism or two, because I'm going to want to at least splash black or splash white, either way. One way or another, we want to play black or white as a splash and have like main blue and then the other color as a extra. We have Aether Theorist, which is good. It's nice to be able to just kind of stack your deck with the Scries. And we do have some energy cards, Confiscation Coup in particular. Could take Era of Innovation just to draw extra cards. Deadlock Track is pretty decent. You can return it to gain more energy. I actually think this card's pretty good. It's not insane or anything, far from it. I mean, I'm very legitimately considering Aether Theorist over it, but it's not that bad. People act like it's a bad card, and I don't think it is. I think that it's good. It's just not great. So as a rare, it seems kind of mediocre. Acrobatic Maneuver would be good to pick up. We did not wield the Aether Trade Winds, which is something to note here. I think we're going to take the Aether Theorist. Hope to wield the Acrobatic Maneuver. I think that's okay. Alright. Glint Nest Crane. And a Whirler Virtuoso. Oof. If only we had grabbed that Era of Innovation, because Whirler Virtuoso is very cool. I do have the Decoction module, so Whirler is a lot more interesting that way. Decoction module gives you just a ton of energy with Whirler. This deck is very all over the place if we're going to take Whirler. Glint Nest Crane is certainly reasonable. The come into playability on that is good. And we have a couple of good artifacts already. We have 3. I'll need a lot more if I want Crane to work. The problem with taking the Whirler, like I really want to take it. The issue is then I'm basically making sure that I'm 4 colors. And I have 0 fixing yet. If I actually had like a Prof Prism or 2... I'm probably snap picking Whirler, because I don't. I'm not sure about it. Like, it's unlikely that I'll get more Prophetic Prisms. So as much as this hurts, I'm going to pass it and take the Glint Nest. Now we have Aether Hub, which actually is pretty good fixing for us. We have some energy, so it's not totally unplayable by any means. There's also Aether Meltdown, which is a good way for us to get energy, and just as kind of a removal spell. Essence Extraction. Black just seems really open. I need more artifacts for this Glint Nest. Pretty reasonable to take an Essence Extraction here. This is just a close pick. And that hub, too. I want fixing for the Gearsmith. I'm going to take the Extraction. It does seem like we're going to be black, at least a little bit. Aviary Mechanic is good. And I'd love to be the 3 colors. I think that we'll make that work some way. Some way, somehow, I am going to manage these 3 colors. And Mechanic is exactly what we want. We need more 2-drops as well. And rebuying all of our abilities is good. Glassworker's Puzzle Knot. Or Glassblower's Puzzle Knot. Foundry Screecher. Contraband Kingpin. Man, black is stupid open. We've got to take Prophetic Prism, though.
And we have the white cards. I want to play them. I want to get some acrobatic maneuvers. I feel like that's just what I need to go with. We have the double blue and double black. This is insane how open black is. I bet that we wheel the contraband kingpin, which is nice. So I'm just going to take the prism. I mean, prism also works with the glint nest crane, which we need to get online. So it just seems like the right place to go. Aether trade wins. I already have a fair bit of stuff that returns permanence to my hand. I have Disappearing Act, Paradoxical Outcome, and Aviary Mechanics. I already have at least 3. I'm not 100% certain that I need a 4th more than I need, say, a Cogworker's Puzzle Knot, which can just buy me a bunch of little creatures. I feel like I can take the Puzzle Knot this time. I also just need it for the Glint Nest Crane and Foundry Screecher. Like, there's some reasons to just take the Puzzle Knot here anyways. It's not just about bouncing things. It's also about finding things to bounce. I mean, not saying that we should Aetherflux Reservoir, but if we are playing spells a bunch of times, maybe it's reasonable. It's certainly a thing that we can do with, like, Aviary Mechanic. If we get 2 Aviary Mechanics, you can just chain them together to gain a bunch of life off of the Aetherflux. Not saying that's, like, a good idea, but who knows? Maybe there's something there. I'll take it. It's unlikely that I play it, but I don't think I'm playing Blade Master anyways. Rush of Vitality is good. Actually, I'm just going to take the Rush or not, because it took the Aetherflux. Sure. Sometimes you have to double click these, like click and then click later to reserve it, which is weird. Like, sometimes it switches and then other times it doesn't. So I see now it still has Ornamental Courage done. Now if I go like this, now it's Demolish. Mind Rot. Like, how did that work? Every once in a while it doesn't seem like it moves. Well, I'll take the Fire Forgers. Decent one to bounce again, and I need more artifacts. I'm not going to play it currently, but it's a possibility. Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot, Glassblower's Puzzle Knot, or an Acrobatic Maneuver. At this point, I might just take the Acrobatic Maneuver. Well, it's getting into dangerous territory where we're very solidly 3 colors, and with only the Prophetic Prism, and I don't know how much I love that. I guess that, I mean, all I'm missing out on is a Puzzle Knot, and that's not exactly something I care too much about. Take another Puzzle Knot here. Windrake I will play. I don't mind Windrakes. It's possible that I want a Bastion Mastodon as a finisher. And another artifact. Yeah, actually, I'll just take Bastion Mastodon. Finisher is probably what I need currently. Wow, that is... These Foundry Screechers are a lot better than that. I mean, the card's not insane, but there's no reason it should go, like, second to last pick. Foundry Screecher is very playable. 3 power flyers for 3 mana are definitely a thing. Sure, they can be picked off pretty easily by, like, Pirate Helixes or whatever, but they're not bad by any means. Ooh, so we have another Disappearing Act to return things. We have a Propeller Pioneer that we could just constantly rebuy. But we also have the Aether Squall Ancient. And hey, if we're gonna bounce things, that is the ultimate way to bounce things, isn't it? I kind of feel like I just take the Ancient. Yeah, let's go with the Ancient here for sure. Janjeet Sentry for more energy. We've got an Eddy Trailhawk, another Foundry Screecher, which I think we're full up on for now. I'm not 100% certain that I'm that heavy in black yet anyways. It seems like it will be, but we'll hedge a little bit. Plus, Janjeet Sentry's not bad. We need the energy. Our deck's looking like it can use quite a bit of it. Another energy sink isn't bad. Like, we've got the Decoction module to get a lot. Aether Theorist can give us extra a fair bit of the time. Whirler Maker. Decent card, but super slow. Kind of like the Select for Inspection. I would like to have more creatures right now, though. And Malphus Squad does have Fabricate, so we can use that ability to kind of keep rebuying value, get a bunch of little 1/1s. I feel like this is just too slow. Like, our deck, it'll come in against certain decks. If we play another slow, grindy matchup, then I'll want a Whirler Maker, but there's a lot of games where we just don't care about that. I think I'll take the Malphus. I have enough select for inspection kind of cards. Like, I need creatures at this point. Weaponcraft Enthusiast is great to return. But Renegade Freighter is another artifact. I can find it with Glintnest Crane. It's just kind of awesome. That's a tough pick. That's a really tough pick. They both have very good reasons to be in the deck. Second Midnight Oil we've seen. Somebody is definitely in a pretty sick black deck. I'm going to take the Freighter. And be pretty sad about passing the Weaponcraft Enthusiast. But just considering that our mana base is a little bit tough already, the more artifacts that we have, it makes our mana base easier because there's just less colored cards. And the Glintnest Crane grabs it. So I think that it's just very reasonable to grab it here. What else do we want? Underhanded Designs. That's a pretty good one. And we even have ways to bounce artifacts, say with like Cogworker's Puzzle Knot and Aviary Mechanic, or the Paradoxical Outcome. Like, we can return the Puzzle Knot, play the Puzzle Knot, keep draining the whole time. Takes a lot of mana, but it's possible. And, I mean, Underhanded Designs also is just kind of awesome. I don't have anything else here that's very good. Aether Tradewinds, Emerald Bruiser, Operative. I have the Maneuver. I have the Maneuver, I have the Paradoxical, I have the Aviary, and I have the Disappearing Act. I'm thinking about the Tradewinds. It's probably Operative or Bruiser, but the thing is that I want to try and see how deep we can go with, like, bouncing things. And Aether Tradewinds is much more in line with that theme. It's an upgraded acrobatic maneuver, and it kind of just means that we don't have to splash as bad. So I'm going to take the Aether Tradewinds here and be happy with that. Normally, I think I'd take the Dund Operative. Glint Sleeve Artisan. That's a good one for us to bounce, but, like, we seem like we're black more than white. White is going to be tough for us to play. We only have the one Prism. Rush of Vitality is a thing. Malfunction can be removal, which we have very little of. We're just using Aether Tradewinds at this point. And Essence Extraction. Underhanded Designs too. Okay, so we've got 2 real removal spells, 1 pseudo removal spell. Malfunction's pretty bad, though. That's kind of my problem with it. I guess we'll take the Malfunction here. There's an Ambitious Aetherborn, which I don't mind. Ninth Bridge Patrol actually works perfectly for our deck, because this is when a creature leaves the battlefield, so we can return our creatures and get value off the Ninth Bridge. So I might just try that. I said that I wanted to try doing more bounce type stuff, so I should probably actually do it. You'll just try and cut more black and end up being like white-blue, just like I wanted. Splash the Underhanded Designs and the Restoration Gearsmith. Play the Propeller Pioneer. Could play a Peafowl. Take a Peafowl. I would love to have seen a Gearseeker Serpent. Gearseeker Serpent would have been good. Select for Inspection. Kind of don't care about that card. Not at this point. We need more creatures. Only 12 is not where I want to be. Herald of the Fair is a thing that I can use. It does have a come into play ability. It's just a really bad one. I think that we'll just take the select for inspection, honestly. Failed inspection, sequestered stash, and another ambition. Okay. So we have some interesting choices. Do I want to play more black cards to fill out more creatures into the deck? And if I do, what am I cutting? We have 13 creatures right now, I would say, just because of the Cogworkers puzzle knot. Not super excited about that. I guess this is kind of like 14 creatures, because Confiscation Coup will grab something. There's not a lot of board positions where Confiscation Coup gets you nothing. And honestly, most of the board positions where this gets you nothing, you're fine without playing it, because your opponent probably just doesn't have any creatures. Okay. This might just be the deck the way that it is. Use this to rebuy creatures. I wish that I'd grabbed that Glint Sleeve Artisan now instead of the select or or was it the malfunction? I think it was malfunction. Yeah, it was definitely malfunction. Malfunction might still need to be in the deck though, because we did cut a removal spell with Essence Extraction. How much bounce do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That seems pretty good. I think that we fell well within the parameters of what we're trying to do. I'm going to make the deck this, and we'll fill out some lands and submit. I'm going to go down to 2 swamps because we do have the Prophetic Prisms, so that does give us 3 black sources. Plus, we don't really need Underhanded Designs or Restoration Gearsmith very early in the game. I want a little bit more white. 5 seems good. I could go 9-3. Feel like early blue is very important, though. Just want to be able to get all of our spells down fairly quickly. Good thing is we've got a lot of our 2-drops as colorless cards, so that gives us a slight advantage there. Makes our bad mana slightly better. I might even want to just go 9-6 in favor of white so we can get these white cards down on curve. All of our white is pretty early. We need blue for the P-Fells. I'm going to leave it like this. I think this is fine. This is a very interesting deck. It's not one that I would often do, so I'm very excited to try it out. Aether Squall Ancient seems like a lot of fun. We can definitely get the lock with it, where you can get enough energy in a single turn. So, like, once we play Ancient, we can possibly go, like, we might have Decoction Module in play. We can go, like, Theorist and Sentry and make enough energy to just constantly redo the Aether Squall Ancient ability, which is pretty sweet. Every single turn, you just bounce everything else, hit them for 6, and keep playing like that until they're dead. Alright, well, I am going to submit this deck, and let's see how much fun we can have with it. I really want Restoration Gearsmith to do a ton of work. The other card that I'm looking out for is Paradoxical Outcome. I got absolutely destroyed by Outcome one game, and I'd love to see if I can actually do that. Like, if I can beat somebody with this card, because it's really not a normal card to play in Limited. It's a very weird effect. It's generally very slow, tough to use, so I want to see if we can try and abuse it here. See you in a moment, though, for round 1. Don't really mind getting a land here. Oh, hello. Confiscation Coup.